Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos. So big breaking news now is coming out of some media reports in regards to Matthias de Ligt from Ajax, as they have actually been giving you an update on a regular basis. So now according to reports from Spain, this is coming out from the Spanish press, it does suggest now that Manchester United are close to agreeing a move for Matthias de Ligt from Ajax, and this is really good news, to be quite honest with you, because as we all do currently know, it has been speculating at least in the last couple of days, saying that Manchester United, of course, we have improved our offer, to try and convince, de Ligt to come to Manchester United. I think it did say we've offered him around, 13 or 14 million pounds per year. That's obviously that's in the region of around, 240,000 pounds a week. And this is obviously, a figure that Barcelona are not currently willing to meet. So, according to reports now, de Ligt is very close to joining Manchester United. This is very good news, because I do think he'll dramatically improve us. I also believe that Rio Ferdinand is a big admirer of de Ligt, because as you all know, reports have also, suggested out today that, obviously, de Ligt had currently liked Rio Ferdinand's Rio Ferdinand's post that he currently put on Instagram, obviously, Manchester United, winning the Champions League, back in 2008. And it did basically say that Manchester United fans, when they saw that, they were convinced, that de Ligt was intending on making the move to Old Trafford. So potentially we know for quite a while that obviously, Barcelona have been amongst the favourites, to currently get the pursuit of the player. Because as it said, was it last week, according to Sky Sports, he was going to be going to Barcelona and was de Ligt, and he actually made an admission, saying that he does basically, want to make the move to Barcelona. Obviously, he did say that would be his preferred destination, and like I said, probably the main factor reasons why his preferred destination, would have been Barcelona, because obviously, his current teammate Frankie de Jong is going there, and maybe wants to reunite with his current teammate, does de Ligt. But we do know the likes of, Liverpool have inquired about his services. We do know Manchester City have also, inquired about his services, because obviously, City are in the market for a replacement for Vincent Kompany. But I do believe he'd be a fantastic sign for Manchester United. But now reports do currently say that, Manchester United are close to getting a deal over the line for de Ligt, and he's close to joining Manchester United. So this is very good news. Like I said, don't always believe, what reporters say in certain media outlets, because some of it, is just to basically justify their existence. But it is in quite a few media outlets about this story, saying that reportedly now he is close to joining Manchester United. It's initially valued at around £65 million is de Ligt, but I think what we've currently offered de Ligt, I think it's mentioned that it's too good to turn currently down. But reflected back a couple of weeks ago, it did say Manchester United had around a 12 million year contract turned down, because that's what we offered him. But reportedly de Ligt had currently turned this down. But de Ligt's become an integral part of Ajax's squad. Obviously he's captain them to the domestic double this season, for the first time in 17 years. Obviously including the Eredivisie title for the first time in 5 years, and of course captained his team to the Champions League semi-final, did de Ligt. Obviously he's going to be leaving Ajax, but I do believe if he comes to the Premier League, it's going to definitely take his career to the next level. He'd be a fantastic leader in our back line, and I think he will exceed expectation levels in the Premier League. Obviously going back quite a few weeks back, Edwin van der Sar is currently CEO of Ajax. He came out and he did basically say that he was convinced that de Ligt's going to be leaving Ajax this summer, and he did say he'll either make the move to England or Spain. This is what currently Edwin van der Sar had currently said. But it did initially say that Barcelona have been in negotiations with his agent Raiola, but reportedly Barcelona are not willing to increase their offer, because obviously de Ligt's been demanding more money. Obviously his agent Raiola has been demanding more money. But like I said, he's flourished fantastically well at Ajax. He's been their senior squad now about 3 years as de Ligt. I think he became more of a first team starter for Ajax, when Davinson Sanchez, left for Tottenham, back in 2017. He's also the only defender, to win the Golden Boy award. But I think he'd be absolutely fantastic in our backline with de Ligt, because obviously now we've identified our two main priority targets, and that's obviously de Ligt and of course Napoli's Koulibaly, because I do believe that we do need two central defenders. But we do know Liverpool had initially, of course, inquired about getting de Ligt. Then initially, I think Liverpool adopted him out of the race. Like I said, I think the main factor reason why Liverpool had showed their interest in de Ligt, because obviously, Liverpool have got Virgil van Dijk, and like I said, Virgil van Dijk and de Ligt, know each other really well. But he's only 19 years of age. He's got a hell of a lot of development in him, and I do believe he would dramatically improve us defensively, will de Ligt. So this is absolutely very good news indeed. So reportedly, he is close to agreeing a move to Manchester United. So this is absolutely fantastic news indeed. And yeah, so that's mainly the latest news to update you on that. And as I did currently say, we are looking to bring at least 5 new additions to the club this summer. Obviously, we've nearly got a deal over the line for Daniel James. Obviously, he's going to be our first signing this summer. You want to bring at least 5 players in anyway. Obviously, the spending spree is going to be £250 million. Obviously, we do expect, players to leave the club. But as I did say, we're cashing for the likes of Lukaku, we're cashing for the likes of Paul Pogba, we're cashing for the likes of De Gea. That will help us with our rebuilding process, and of course, that will help us with our transition, of course. And so this is really good news in regards to, De Ligt. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has worked out his transfer strategy for this summer, and obviously, he's looking to recommend a number of young players, that can come in, grow, develop, and emulate into superstars. And I do believe, De Ligt, is more than capable of doing this. So he only wants to recommend young players into Solskjaer. He's not intending on bringing any short-term players to the club, and he has been quite a few meetings, discussing about our recruitment this summer. So according to reports, it's looking likely now we are going to get a deal over the line for De Ligt. So now I think Manchester United are a monster, the favourites, to currently get the pursuit the player. So that is absolutely fantastic news indeed. Like I did currently say though, obviously Koulibaly is one of our priority targets, of course. I really like Koulibaly. Like I said, reports came out from Italy a couple of days ago, saying that Manchester United had a bid turned down of around £95 million for Koulibaly. I really like him. Of course, recently, Carlo Ancelotti has regarded him as one of the best centre-backs in the world, Koulibaly. Obviously, he's been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite a while now. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, he was on our agenda was Koulibaly. In the process, linking, Koulibaly to Manchester United, started under Jose Mourinho last summer. But obviously, we didn't get his number one targets last summer, because obviously his priority was to get a centre back. But obviously, we didn't get a centre back last summer, and we didn't get his number one priority targets because obviously, the board weren't backing the signings that Jose Mourinho, wanted to recommend to come in. I think last year we had 3 bids, turned down for Koulibaly. I think we had also a £95 million bid turned down for him last year. Obviously, it's going to probably take a world transfer record, for Manchester United to have any hopes of landing Koulibaly. Obviously, I think it'd probably take a bid from us of around 120 or 130 million pounds, to convince Napoli, to do any business with the player. But he's 27, of course, nearly 28 years of age. Of course, his distribution's very good. He leads the lines very well. He's also very good in the air. So I'd love Koulibaly and De Ligt, to currently come in, because obviously now I think they are our 2 main targets, of course. So De Ligt, obviously, as I said, hasn't been fully finalised as yet, but according to what the reports and that, they're saying he's close to agreeing to move to Manchester United. So obviously no fee has obviously yet come to an agreement, but reportedly it is extremely very close. And as he updated you, was it yesterday? In regard, to Antoine Griezmann, of course, and I think the Antoine Griezmann rumours, I sort of similar, to the De Ligt rumours, to be quite honest with you. As I did currently say, with Antoine Griezmann, I don't see him coming to Manchester United. Even though reports have explained that Barcelona's move is stalling for Antoine Griezmann, because obviously Griezmann had made the admission last week, that he's destined to leave Atletico Madrid, and he is leaving Atletico Madrid, and he did initially say he was destined to make the move to Barcelona. Barcelona, of course, willing to pay his 104 or 105 million release clause. But obviously, reflecting back a couple of years ago, Manchester United were on the brink of getting Antoine Griezmann, like I said. But based on the transfer ban Atletico Madrid got, that stopped the deal, and our deal never materialised for Antoine Griezmann. But his initial release clause at the moment is around 171. Is it 171 or 172 million pounds? But obviously, at the start of July, it does reduce to around 104 or 105 million pounds. His release clause. Obviously, looking back at last summer, Griezmann was close to joining Barcelona, but obviously he signed a new long-term contract with Atletico Madrid, so he's under contract now with Atletico Madrid until 2023. Obviously, so far has spent the entirety of his career in Spain as Griezmann. Obviously, this is his 5th season now with Atletico Madrid. Obviously, he's a former Real Sociedad player. I think for Atletico Madrid, he scored 133 goals in 257 appearances in all competitions as Griezmann. But reports were saying yesterday that Manchester United had made initial contact, with Griezmann, trying to get some of a move for him, but I don't really see it happening. And I think a lot of this, what's being said in regards to Griezmann and this, I think a lot of it's to justify the existence. So I don't think he'll come to Manchester United. I still believe he'll probably end up making the move to Barcelona, because that's his preferred destination. I think anywhere, but that's where I think he'll go. But if Griezmann was to come to Manchester United, maybe in a way that could convince Paul Pogba to stay, because obviously looking at it off the pitch and that, Paul Pogba and Griezmann, do have a good relationship, because obviously they're both, Frensham and all that. But he's going to, either way, even if he does come to Manchester United, now we've got any chances of getting him. You never know, though, because looking back a week ago, everyone would have thought, Manchester United had no chance of getting Ligt. And all of a sudden, the reports are coming out saying that we're close to getting Ligt. So you never know. You never know, to be quite honest. But yeah, like I said, Griezmann's 28 years of age. He can score goals, as you all know. Obviously, he's going to cost us over £100 million, as I said, but I don't want us to spend over £100 million on Griezmann. I'd rather, spend that £100 million on, Benfica's Joe Felix. Joe Felix is 9 or 10 years younger than Griezmann. Joe Felix, of course, has still got a hell of a lot of development in him. And I really, really like Joe Felix. Recent reports have said, Manchester United, we have stepped our interest up in Joe Felix. We've been in more negotiations. He did say Manchester United were willing to meet his £100 million buyout clause, so we're willing to trigger his £100 million buyout clause, primarily in attacking midfielder. Can play as a winner, can also play as a striker, so very, very versatile is Joe Felix, but only 19 years of age. I do believe he can emulate into one of the best players in the world, Felix, and I do believe he'd succeed in the Premier League, and I do believe he would meet expectation levels, would Joe Felix, so I do really, really like him indeed. Obviously, this has been on his first season in the senior squad with Benfica. Obviously, he's yet to make his senior debut for Portugal. So he's been on Manchester United's agenda, for a very, very long time. So I'd rather spend £100 million on Joe Felix than I would Antoine Griezmann. Obviously, as well, I'd rather spend £100 million on Jadon Sancho than I would Antoine Griezmann. But obviously, our move for Jadon Sancho this summer, looks in serious jeopardy, of course. And I think the main factor reason why we're set to miss out on Jadon Sancho this summer, based on our failure, to getting into the Champions League for next season, of course. And I think if we'd have got in the Champions League, for next season, I thought we might have had a chance of getting Jadon Sancho, because obviously, he was the club's number one priority target, for a very, very long time, with Jadon Sancho. And it did initially say, that Man United, we were willing to meet his £100 million valuation, of course. And from a financial point of view, and from a Borussia Dortmund perspective, they would make a huge profit on the player, because they got him for next to nothing for Man City. I think they got him for around £7 or £8 million from Manchester City. He never really got the opportunity at City, and this is the main factor reason why I left City, and of course went to Borussia Dortmund. But obviously he's no longer the club's number one prize target, but he has been on Manchester United's agenda for a very, very long time. Like I said, Jadon Sancho has basically confirmed he's intending on staying with Dortmund at least for another season. Borussia Dortmund themselves are very, very convinced, that Jadon Sancho will remain there with them. But, if Jadon Sancho was still on to Manchester United, then definitely I'd rather pay £100 million for Jadon Sancho than I would Antoine Griezmann. Again, Jadon Sancho is only 19 years of age. He's about 10 or 9 years younger than Antoine Griezmann. But I don't see us getting Jadon Sancho, even though Borussia Dortmund, did get two signings on Wednesday. Of course, they got, Julian Braun and, Thorgan Hazard, obviously, both winners. I think, Julian Braun, can also, play as attacking midfield, as he has done quite a few times this season. But he did say, some Manchester United fans, were convinced, that, he could, his summer transfer to Manchester United is still on. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund are getting these two signings. But I think Jadon Sancho's remain set to remain loyal with Borussia Dortmund. And talking about, as I updated you earlier on as well, guys, in regards, to Romelu Lukaku. Now, obviously, we do know that Romelu Lukaku is considered to be one of the favourable players that's going to depart Old Trafford this summer. I think probably at least around 4 players are going to leave Manchester United this summer. Like I said, all the players that we do currently want to leave, we're not going to be able to address this in one window. It's going to take a couple of windows to address that problem. So, talking about Romelu Lukaku, he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation, as you all know, guys. He's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Now, Solskjaer has blatantly told him that he's surplus to requirements is Romelu Lukaku. So obviously, as reports came out yesterday, saying that Inter Milan have reportedly agreed personal terms with Lukaku. It also said that Inter Milan have agreed to meet his £170,000 a week wage demands. Initial fee hasn't obviously come to an agreement, because it didn't literally say that the quoted fee was around £70 million, and this is what Manchester United were demanding. It did say Inter Milan initially rate him at around £50 million. Obviously, Conte has identified, Lukaku as his number one target, for Inter Milan, because obviously, as you all know, Antonio Conte is expected, to take the job at Inter Milan, obviously, to replace Luis Belter into Milan, of course. So potentially, yeah. So I think Man United, as I said, want around £70 million for Lukaku. So initially, we're looking to recoup the initial £75 million. We did pay for him a couple of seasons ago from Everton. The add-ons included in the deal as well, with around £15 million so that had risen it to around £90 million. Obviously, Lukaku has got still 3 years left on his contract, but I think Lukaku is destined, to make the move to Italy. As he was saying quite a while back, about his dream, to currently play in the Serie A. So I do believe he will be making the move. So as you all know, reports came out, was it a couple of days ago, like I've updated you on, saying, Inter Milan were willing to offer him £30 million, plus Ivan Perisic as part of the deal, to currently land Romelu Lukaku. But Manchester United obviously, not willing to go along with this. Manchester United have confirmed that Ivan Perisic, of course, is no longer a Manchester United target. Obviously, he was a target under Jose Mourinho. He was a long-term target under Jose Mourinho with Perisic. But obviously, I think the main factor reason why we didn't get a deal over the line for Perisic under the Jose Mourinho era is because obviously, Manchester United, we were not willing to meet Inter Milan's £48 million asking price, obviously. And at the time, I wanted Ivan Perisic. As I said, he wasn't a Galactico. He's not a Galactico player. He's not a world-class player. And Man United just basically didn't pay the £48 million because obviously, we didn't think he was worth £48 million, Ivan Perisic. And plus, his age up now anyway. How old is he now? Is he 29? Is he 30 years of age now, Ivan Perisic, if you can remember? But yeah, Manchester United, of course, are not willing to go along with this. So now, as I updated you on my previous video today, now reportedly Manchester United are interested in Inter Milan Skriniar as part of a deal, for Romelu Lukaku. So Man United are interested in, going along with this swap deal. Inter Milan, letting Inter Milan let Skriniar come to Manchester United, and obviously, we let Lukaku, currently go to into Milan. But either way, Milan Skriniar has been on Manchester United's agenda, of quite some time now. Obviously, he was heavily linked to move to Manchester United last summer. Milan Skriniar is only very, very young, so he's got a lot of development in him. He's only 24 years of age. He's just recently signed a new contract with Atletico with Inter Milan not too long ago. So he's under contract with Inter Milan until 2023. But don't really know much about Milan Skriniar, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But I do know he's been on Manchester United's agenda, of quite some time. I think he's been at Inter Milan a couple of seasons. I think he's played about 85 games for Inter Milan. To be quite honest with you, I don't really get this story because it doesn't really make much sense, does it? Swapping a striker, for a defender, of course. But I think Manchester United are keen on doing this, to be quite honest with you. We want, we're demanding we want Milan Skriniar from Inter Milan. If if we are willing to let Lukaku, go to Inter Milan, and obviously, if there's no swap deal involved in this, we are demanding we want a fee of £78 million for Romelu Lukaku. So that's obviously the latest news to update on that. But talking about Lukaku, I still think his ratio is very, very good in the Premier League. He has got a good pedigree in the Premier League because, as I said, he has scored a lot of goals, Lukaku. But when it comes to him playing the big teams, his link-up play, his footballing ability, his first touch, it all concerns me. His finishing. He's very, very poor. He hasn't got that endless potential, Romelu Lukaku. And I still know he's got a lot of years ahead of him as Romelu Lukaku, but I just don't think he's good enough, to represent Manchester United. And like I said, I think it will be beneficial, of course, if we can cash in for them. So there has been quite a few players, mentioned who could actually, replace Romelu Lukaku at Old Trafford. And obviously, we do know, I think this came, was it around 3 or 4 weeks ago, about Moussa Dembele from Lyon. Now, reportedly, Manchester United have expressed an interest in this player. He is a striker. He's 22 years of age. Reports came out yesterday saying that Manchester United, submitted a bid of around £48 million for Moussa Dembele. So we have inquired about Moussa Dembele's services. I think this has only been his first season in France with Lyon, but he has demonstrated this throughout the course of this season that he can score goals, he can lead the lines. But he did really, really well when he was at Celtic because he did have 2 good years with Celtic. Of course, scored 50-odd goals in 90-odd games. And going back to when he was quite a lot younger, he did really, really well with Fulham. Obviously, began his senior career with Fulham. Did Moussa Dembele. I think he scored about 19 goals in 64 competitive matches. So yeah, there has been talks about him going on. I think initially he's valued at around £40 million. Lyon obviously got him last summer from Celtic for around, was it just under £20 million, and he's got a 5-year contract with Lyon. So Manchester United have reportedly being in for him. We do know there's been talks about Dybala. We do know there's been talks about Paul Dybala, going on. Do you think he'd be a good replacement from Lukaku? Don't get me wrong, as I do keep saying, I have got strong reservations about Paulo Dybala, when it comes to some of his touches. When it comes to some of his touches, when it comes to some of his defensive abilities, I've got strong concerns about Paulo Dybala. But he did recently say in the media that Manchester United have reportedly been in talks with Juventus for over a month now, over potentially making a move for Paulo Dybala. So at least for a month channel. Now, reportedly, we've inquired about, Paul Dybala's services. Obviously, Paul Dybala, I think, is what, 25 or 26 years of age, so he has still got a lot of development in him. Recently it came out saying that Dybala's agent and brother had come out and suggested that, Dybala, will probably, leave Juventus this summer. And, well, I think, his brother and agent basically said, that Dybala wants to leave Juventus this summer. But he has been at Juventus 4 seasons. And, he has demonstrated. Yeah, I've seen, glimpses of his best form. He has demonstrated, that he can play well. But I haven't seen the best of him throughout the course of this season. Because obviously, since the arrival of Cristiano Ronaldo, Dybala has found game time very, very difficult. So we haven't really seen the best of him this season. Reportedly, a couple of weeks back, he was in London with Paul Dybala. Manchester United had been in talks, with Dybala over the potential move. I think the quoted fee was around £85 million. So he is on Manchester United's agenda. So do you think he'd be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku? And we do currently know, as well, there has been, the other problems with Manchester United. We've let far too many players' contracts run down, of course. Obviously, we've got Rashford in the final year of his deal. Obviously, we've got Mata. We've got, obviously, Juan Mata, of course, coming to an end of his contracts. I do believe he's going to be leaving. Obviously, De Gea is in the final year of his deal. Obviously, we've let Ander Herrera, go on a free transfer. So yeah, a lot, obviously, I've let far too many players' contracts run down, but I do believe it was a mistake for Manchester United, giving Chris Smalling a new long-term contract, giving Phil Jones a new long-term contract, and that was a mistake from Manchester United, of course. But talking about, the current midfielders, I do believe that Manchester United need, obviously, I think we definitely, need a centre defensive midfield, that's fast and tenacious, because that's one of the priority areas, where Manchester United, of course, need to strengthen up. Obviously, if Fellaini left in January, obviously, the Man United, of course, isn't reliable enough. Obviously, he's aging up. As I said, I've got strong reservations about him. He's too slow. He's too inconsistent, as the Man United. So I do believe we need a centre defensive midfielder that's fast and tenacious. So there's quite a few defensive midfielders on Manchester United's agenda, as you all know. There's been recent talks about Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid going on. Can't really comment too much about Thomas Partey because I don't really know much about him. I know he's 25. I know he has spent the majority of his career, with Atletico Madrid as Thomas Partey. I know Manchester United and Arsenal have inquired about his services. His release clause is around £43 million in his contract with Atletico Madrid. So he's reportedly, been mentioned in the media, at least in the last 3 or 4 days. Obviously, we know Declan Rice has been mentioned before as well, and I love Declan Rice. And I know I know quite a lot about Declan Rice. I know he's well Premier League proven. He initially learned his trade in the Premier League, and he has become an integral part of West Ham's team as Declan Rice. As I said, he's 20. He's got a hell of a lot of years ahead of him. Primarily a defensive midfielder. Can play as centre back, but like I said, he's primarily a defensive midfielder. Is Declan Rice holds his line very, very well. Reports suggested that a while back saying that he could be available for around £15 million this summer. Could Declan Rice. So obviously, there has been talks about him going on in the past before. And I think he's got a contract at West Ham, if I'm right, until 2024 as Declan Rice. Also talking about, Everton's Idrissa Gueye, because we do know he's been also, on Manchester United's agenda, for quite some time now, as Everton's Idrissa Gueye. Now, potentially, if you think, more news came out about it in the last couple of days, saying that obviously, Manchester United do continue to persist to be linked with him. Reportedly, Everton are demanding that they want around £35 million for Idrissa Gueye. Well, initially, looking at Everton, don't even want to sell Idrissa Gueye, but I think Everton have come to accept that, Idrissa Gueye, does intend to leave Everton Football Club. And reportedly, Everton are demanding that they want around £35 million for him. And obviously, there's been a lot of transfer speculation going on about Idrissa Gueye. Obviously, back in January, Everton, did everything, to keep Idrissa Gueye out of PSG's clutches, because PSG were heavily linked with Idrissa Gueye, back in January. I think PSG inquired about his services. PSG, of course, had a couple of bids turned down for Idrissa Gueye, back in January. But he's predominantly a defensive midfielder, is Idrissa Gueye. He breaks up the play very, very well. You can't argue with his stats, because his stats are very, very impressive. I think he's, one of the most successful tacklers in the Premier League. He's completed the most tackles across Europe as well. So yeah, very, very good player, very energetic, very energetic. Good at pressing opponents, and he is 29 years of age. So basically, he is the same age as Ander Herrera. Obviously, comparing them, you can say Ander Herrera's had better of the career, and obviously, that, as I said, they are both the same age. But like I said, Idrissa Gueye is Premier League proven. As I said, he's had quite a few years now of experience under his belt in the Premier League. He has done really, really well for Everton. I think he's been there over 3 years now. I think he's made about 99 appearances in the Premier League for Everton as Idrissa Gueye. Obviously got 3 years left on his contract with Everton, Idrissa Gueye. And yeah, so he obviously is a former Aston Villa player where he did spend one season. I think he made about 34 or 35 appearances, during his 1 year spell over Aston Villa. But now obviously Everton are demanding that they want around 5 times more than what they initially paid for him from Aston Villa, because I think Everton just got him for over £7 million, from Aston Villa, back in 2016 as well. So reportedly, he's on Manchester United's agenda as well. Idrissa Gueye is 29, like I said. He's a Senegal international, so yeah, he could be leaving Everton. Talking about Paul Pogba as well, I still believe he's going to be leaving Manchester United. Is Paul Pogba? Obviously, he's been on Real Madrid's agenda, for quite a while now. As Paul Pogba, but I do believe he's going to be leaving Manchester United. I don't think he wants to be at Manchester United. Paul Pogba. Obviously, he did pinpoint out, did Paul Pogba, that at some point in his career, he's going to be playing for Real Madrid, and he dreams of course playing for Real Madrid. As he explained a while back, Paul Pogba. But he initially said that Manchester United don't want to sell him, obviously, because we don't want to sell him. We don't want to sell him, obviously, because we still believe we know how much of an essential player he is. Even though he hasn't really exceeded expectations, he hasn't really, been the fundamental player as we all thought he would have been, regarding what he did at Juventus. Because Paul Pogba, did have 4 good years with Juventus. But obviously, what he did at Juventus is, mainly failed to replicate that at Manchester United. And to be fair, during Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first 3 months as interim manager, Paul Pogba, played really, really well. He was scoring goals, he was providing, he was expressing himself, and Paul Pogba was mainly playing well when playing well when Ander Herrera was currently playing. So that just emphasises how much of an impact Ander Herrera did currently make, because like I said, he freed up the likes of Paul Pogba, and that's when we saw the best of Paul Pogba. But potentially initially said that we do want around 150 or 160 million pounds for him. Obviously this is a figure that Real Madrid of course are not willing to meet. Obviously going back a couple of weeks back, it did say talks between Real Madrid and Paul Pogba and all that currently stalled, based on Paul Pogba's 13 million a year wage demands. So potentially I think it did say Paul Pogba is willing to take a pay cut, to make his dream move to Real Madrid. Obviously, there was a lot of transfer speculation of Paul Pogba leaving last year. Based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho and all that. He was linked to his former club Juventus. He was also, linked with move to Barcelona, Paul Pogba. And I think, Solskjaer had spoken to Paul Pogba a while back, and Solskjaer still hinted out that, he thinks Paul Pogba will be at Manchester United next season. And he did literally say a couple of days ago in the media that, Manchester United, Solskjaer willing to offer him the captaincy, to in a bid, to convince him to stay at the club. Now, this won't be enough anyway to convince him to stay at the club. And obviously, initially, there's been a change of scenery. Now, I think the captaincy at Manchester United next season, will be given to Ashley Young, because as we all know, Antonio Valencia is leaving. So, potentially the 2 favourable candidates for the captaincy is going to be Paul Pogba and, Ashley Young. But obviously, I don't think it will be Paul Pogba, because I think Paul Pogba is going to be leaving. But it did say Solskjaer is willing now to offer Paul Pogba the vice-captaincy role, of course. But we do know, at least in the last 4 or 5 weeks, that Paul Pogba's agent Raiola has been in the process of finding him, of getting him his dream move to Real Madrid. But obviously Zinedine Zidane's got a lot of players on his agenda this summer. But obviously his 2 major targets are obviously Paul Pogba and Chelsea's Eden Hazard. But whatever we cash in for Paul Pogba, like I said, I do believe we could get 2 players with that money, and I'd love us to get Sporting Lisbon's Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, as a replacement for Paul Pogba. Bruno Fernandes is very, very good. He's creative. He scores goals. He provides assists, as he has proven in his couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon. It came out a couple of weeks ago saying that Sporting Lisbon, want around £60 million for Bruno Fernandes if they're willing to do any business. But he's been on Manchester United's agenda, for quite some time now as Bruno Fernandes. So he's predominantly an attacking midfielder, as you all know. So I'd love, him to come to Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, and yeah. So for me, he'd be the good replacement for Paul Pogba. Players I do expect to leave Manchester United, as I said, I think Marcus Rojo and Darmian are also, on their way out of the club. We can get around £30 million, for Darmian and Rojo. Obviously, we do know for the fact that Valencia is leaving, so obviously, we're going to need a replacement for Antonio Valencia. Obviously, we're going to need a cover up for Diego Dalot. We're going to need an upgrade to Ashley Young, so we definitely need a right back. Like I said, we're with the situation with De Gea. like I said, with the situation here with De Gea, I think, we're going to need a replacement for David De Gea. It's not in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, I don't think, to buy a goalkeeper to replace De Gea. Like I said, I think we're willing to, promote Sergio Maro as our number one goalkeeper, for next season when De Gea, of course, leaves. Because it's looking very realistically, it's looking likely, David De Gea is going to be leaving. Obviously, we do know that the club have, been in negotiations over getting him a new contract for at least now a year and a half. Obviously, we haven't come to an agreement to get David De Gea a new contract. Obviously, initially said that David De Gea was demanding around £350,000 a week from Manchester United. Reportedly, Manchester United were not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands. But this is a figure that PSG are reportedly willing to meet because PSG have been strongly, have been heavily linked with him. I think PSG are prepared to put a bid in for him of around £60 million. Obviously, this would be beneficial and very essential as well because we want to cash in for him this summer rather than letting go on a free transfer in this next year. That would be a calamity, if we let him go on a free transfer next year. But again, being a great servant to the club, he has been here about 7-8 years now. As David De Gea, like I said, he's made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions for Manchester United. Won everything here domestically. Won the Club's Player of the Year 4 times out of the last 6 seasons, of course. So yeah, we can't come to an agreement to get him a new contract. I think it's been blatantly made clear that De Gea is not willing to sign him a new contract, and we know at full value that De Gea, a goalkeeper of his calibre is worth around £100 million at full value, but we're not going to get that for him because obviously he's in the final year of his deal. So as you all know, going back a couple of days ago, there was a lot of talks about AC Milan's Donnarumma, going on. Reportedly, Manchester United have identified him as a possible replacement, for David De Gea. Donnarumma, like I said, he's 20 years of age, so he's got a hell of a lot of development in him. I think he's supposed to be a good shot stopper. He's very, very tall as well. I think he's about 6'4" or 6'5". Obviously, made his debut for AC Milan at just the age of 16. His senior debut, I think, became one of the youngest goalkeepers in the Serie A. So, of course, get his debut, of course, at just the age of 16. Donnarumma, I think, I think he's made about 160 odd appearances in all competitions for AC Milan, kept about 50 odd clean sheets. But it does say, if AC Milan don't secure Champions League footballer for next season, that reportedly, he could be available, could Donnarumma. He has got a contract with AC Milan until 2024. Obviously, his agent is Riley Ola, of course. And so you've got to be careful when your agent's Riley Ola, of course, because obviously, Riley Ola's all about money. He demands quite a bit of money, does Riley Ola. But there has been talks Donnarumma. There's also been other talks about other potential goalkeepers as well that could replace David De Gea. So looking realistically that David De Gea is currently going to be leaving. But like I said, fantastic news this about De Ligt. Of course, I'm just have some more sick. Fantastic news about De Ligt, as I said, guys. It's some of it's here in the Metro. Like I said, Man United very close to sign Ajax centre back. Matthias De Ligt. This is according to reports from the Spanish press, and this is very, very good news. Indeed, like I said, don't always listen to the media. Don't always listen to the media because a lot of the narratives they do put out, some as well. So to say, some of it then, is to justify their existence. So they're not always trustworthy, what people say about certain transfers and all that. But it's in quite a few media outlets, so there could actually be some truth in this now. He was destined to join Barcelona. Of course, it was looking likely last week he was going to be joining Barcelona, but now there has been a change of scenery since Manchester United have come up with this improved offer. It is now looking likely that he's going to be making the move to Old Trafford, which is very, very good indeed. So I'm very, very happy about this. So, like I did basically say, we've got to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the summer, to currently spend, as I said, and Solskjaer still believes we can attract players to the highest level, even though we're not in a Champions League football for next season. And, I think the is intending on coming, of course. Obviously, this offer may be too good, for him to turn down. But, could be on his way to Manchester United now, according to reports, could delay. But, going into next season, if this bad vein of form continues to, carry on, then I will be critical of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Then I will want him out. But like I said, any signings we make this summer have got to fit the culture and history of the club. And Solskjaer, of course, is looking to buy into our history, of course. And Like I said, at the moment, I'm not critical of him. Give him the summer to spend. Like I said, on this squad is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so he's still in the process of rebuilding. I know he hasn't really got the managerial experience, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but he managed some of this Manchester United reserve. He managed some of this team this day and age. When he managed the Manchester United reserve team, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but none of this squad, of course, is his. But yeah, I think Ligt would be the right solution for Manchester United. I think he would be absolutely fantastic for us. So I'd love him, to come to Manchester United. It would be great for him, to experience these facilities at Manchester United, and I think he'd succeed for us very, very well. But nothing's been fully finalised as yet. But the media are saying that it's very, very close. Ligt making a move to Manchester United. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.